All right, so welcome to Brave Birds DFS. And I don't know about you, but I am always in the mood for a good laugh. And I look at so many reaction videos outside of sports, and I especially love reaction videos when we look back and see what the experts, the fat cats, and the geniuses said about something only to find out that either A, they were really, really smart or they were not so smart. And yeah, I'm a content creator, but I'm a little small content creator. I know I go in here and tell you all stuff and I'm wrong sometimes, but yeah, I'm just a little peon. It's much more fun to look at these kind of things for people like ESPN. Contrary to popular beliefs, despite everything that's going on, ESPN, they're still the titans of sports news. They have a lot of backing, obviously, Disney, ABC, all those kind of things. And when they're making their power rankings, they ask executives and all of these people, you know, and they put together a ranking. So back in August, their preseason power ranking, and this one's even more interesting. It's going to make you, it's going to really make you smile because they also put people that were on the hot seat in addition to their regular power ranking. So we're going to look at their top 10. But even more interesting, this is the part that's going to make your head explode a little bit. We're going to look at their bottom team. We're going to look at the teams that they just told us were going to be just terrible. So right now on the screen, we can see Green Bay at number 10 in the preseason ranking. So not the worst. They are actually lower than when you put it all together. They're more of a 11 through 15 place team. So I'm not going to give them too much flack for putting Green Bay at number 10. Most people thought that Jordan Love would take a larger step forward. I would say that Jordan Love stayed the same, maybe regressed a little bit, but Green Bay did make it into the playoffs as a wild card. So I'm not going to say too many bad things about ESPN putting Green Bay at number 10 in their preseason ranking. All right, this one right here. The Bengals, Cincinnati at number 9. And look, they had injuries, and I get it. If you have Joe Burrow as your starting quarterback, I mean, the prognosticators, the fat cats, the big wigs, the know it alls, they are going to put your team in the top 10 or top 15 every single year because Joe Burrow, when fully healthy, when he has a better offensive line and other things around him, he's always going to, make Cincinnati competitive. And he tried his best. He almost pulled it off, but just fell a little bit too short. But obviously, number 9 in the preseason power rankings turned out to be a little bit high. Number 8, the Dolphins. Once again, the Dolphins, good quarterback. You can argue a top 10, top 15 quarterback. We know all the things that happened with Tua. And it's just simple as that. When Tua was not the quarterback, I mean, the Dolphins just did not look like the same team. Kind of like the Bengals. They tried to have a late second half kind of surge, but they're just not the same team. Without Tua, I know a lot of us were hoping for his sake, his long-term sake, that he would retire. But yeah, the season wasn't terrible. Number 8's too high. Tyreek Hill was injured. Achane just continued to play well. So I think Miami will bounce back. But as far as their number 8 preseason ranking, definitely too high. Number 7, disrespectful, putting the Buffalo Bills at number 7. I think at this point, most people would say Buffalo is no lower than the number 3 team in football. Obviously, I'm recording this during the conference championship, so they're the first or second best team in the AFC, and I think a lot of people think the AFC is stronger than the NFC. So, I mean, not totally disrespectful. We can see Sean McDermott was allegedly on the hot seat. I think that he's going to come back for another season. So, disrespectful Buffalo Bills at number 7. All right, so Houston, this This seems pretty high. They had injuries, but really, I mean, we're being honest. CJ Stroud really regressed, had a little bit of a sophomore slump. I mean, once again, they made the playoffs, so this is all relative. It's not like they, fell off the total off the earth and just went 5-12 or something. But I think a lot of people thought that Houston was going to take a step forward, and they did not take that step forward. The Eagles, number 5, so pretty close. I think most people at this point would say the Eagles are the third or fourth best team. Eagles fans, you can argue in the chat, in the comments about that. But, I mean, not bad. Did a pretty good job. I do not think Nick Sirianni is on the line. The best move that they made of the offseason was bringing in Saquon. I mean, he has been the game changer and difference maker for the Eagles. I would not be surprised if the Eagles won the Super Bowl, but also wouldn't be surprised if the Eagles lost to the Commanders. I just think they have the experience. Obviously, Hurts is a little bit dinged up, and that's causing some reverberations across the entire offense. But I'm going to say ESPN did a pretty good job of putting Philadelphia at number 4. All right. We're about to get into the cringe part of this show. You know, a lot of young people like to use cringe. This is about to get real cringy. Detroit Lions, number 4. I mean, they were the number 1 ranked team by seeding in the NFC. So you would put them between 1 and 3. So this is not terrible. But I think it looked, if we had this show 9 days ago before the divisional round, I think there would have been people in the chat talking about how Detroit is the best or second best team in football. I mean, a lot of times it's incremental. You know, Detroit has made leaps and bounds, but the Commanders just wanted it more. This hot seat is hilarious, even though Jameson Williams did get suspended again this season. He had an amazing season as the wide receiver too, and he is not on the hot seat at all. All right, so if we cringe for number 4, I'm sorry. I got to give you more cringe at number 3, the 49ers. So when I was a little kid, my mom would sing this song like "Got High Hopes." It was this High Hopes song. If you're, I don't know if kids even get this song sung to them anymore, but my mom would sing that and have the little album with the High Hopes song. 49ers had high hopes. Everything that could go wrong did. I guess Purdy kept it together most of the year. I guess that didn't fall apart. I mean, CMC IR most of the year. Ayuk on the IR. Every time a running back touched the ball, they got injured. Debo, I don't know if he's on the hot seat, but he definitely didn't have a great year. There were a lot of problems with the 49ers. This is probably on the top end of the power rankings, the most egregious miss with 49ers. And we're not over with the cringe. Ravens, number 2. Ravens, number 2. And once again, another example, if we had did this, if I had done this episode 8 days ago, we might be having a different conversation. Ravens have a top 2 quarterback, most people would think. I mean, he's probably going to win the MVP or come in second. But the Ravens, whether it's the coaching, they got the yips. I mean, Lamar Jackson just hasn't shown up in the playoffs. As simple as that. We're done. I think everybody is done making excuses for Lamar Jackson, the Ravens. It's a comedy of errors. It's just some people got it. Some people have it. Some people are regular season quarterbacks and some people are playoff quarterbacks. Lamar Jackson might be like my boy Kirk Cousins, just great in the regular season and not so great in the postseason. And look, I like Lamar Jackson, so I hope he proves me wrong one day. But, we're getting more and more data points, more and more observations, and the Baltimore Ravens, they have a playoff problem. And I got to admit, The people at ESPN were so brave. When no, they weren't brave. No, they weren't. They weren't brave. They weren't brave. They put the Chiefs at number one. Hot seat, Rashee Rice. Yeah, he's on the IR now. He is not on the hot seat, even though Xavier Worthy went in and did really well this year. They would definitely welcome Rice back next year. But if you thought this was interesting, if you thought the top was interesting, wait till we get. I'm just gonna speed on down. Wait till we get down here and look who they said at the bottom. Yeah, you saw a little bit of it. Look at that. Let's start at number 32. Carolina Panthers are not the worst team in football. There's no doubt about it. They had a not so good first half, and yes, Bryce Young in the first half of the season was on the hot seat, lost his job to Dalton. But the last 5 games of the regular season, we saw the Bryce Young that played at Alabama. I would say Carolina is the 15th to 20th best team. So overall, I think that they were wrong as far as ranking them as the worst team in football. But the most egregious ranking is definitely putting the Denver Broncos at number 31. I don't think most people, even in the Bo Nix fan club, would have imagined that Bo Nix would have played this well in his rookie year. And once Sean Payton had a good quarterback, he was able to be the coach that we saw back with the Saints. So definitely big miss, big fail, putting Denver at number 31. The Patriots, this is now, I mean, people would argue the Patriots maybe are the 30th or 31st worst team in football. So this is right on. Fired their coach. Nothing went right. I don't think there's a lot of argument with this. Number 29, the Cardinals showed some spunk. I mean, it's easier to pick the top, 10 teams and the bottom 10 teams. So I think ESPN did an okay job with their top 10, but they were really wrong with the bottom 10 teams. Arizona almost made the playoffs. We had Trey McBride. Kyler Murray played better. Coaching was much better. So everything was better for the Cardinals. So this was definitely off by a lot. Look at this one, though. Look at this, you disrespectful swines. Putting the Commanders at number 28. Not even, you couldn't, I mean, LSU, they produce quarterbacks. LSU produces quarterbacks. LSU produces stud Pro Bowl level NFL players. What were you all thinking putting the Commanders at number 28? And as salty as I feel about Dan Quinn is a good coach. This, along with the Broncos, was a huge miss. We had a lot of misses at the bottom. Let's keep going. Vegas is going to vague. Raiders going to raid. This was spot on. Actually, this is kind of high. I think most people would put the Raiders at this point even lower. So I think this was not so terrible. Yeah, 26. No, I don't think most people would put the Giants this high. They're in a race to the bottom. Everything went wrong. They traded Saquon Barkley inside of the division. An interdivisional trade. I have nothing to say about that. The Saints, this is about right. Saints, hot seat was correct. Yeah, Dennis Allen got fired during the season, so they were pretty correct about this. I think it's hard to rank the Saints. There were so many injuries, and you had an interim coach, so I'm not gonna fight this number 25 ranking too much. The Titans, at times they show glimmers of hope, but another team that had a lot of injuries. I don't think this 24th ranking is terrible. And we're ending out the bottom 10. Wow. So let's recap. The geniuses at ESPN put the bottom 10, the Vikings, the Commanders, the Cardinals, the Broncos, and I'm gonna punch in with Carolina. So ESPN, not so terrible in the top 10. Did a really horrible job of the bottom 10, but I'll let you all decide that. Leave a comment, and otherwise, I'll talk to you next time.